presentation on some comprehension strategies that are K-5. Any teacher can use it with any ability group.
Teachers took this time to do a writing reflection on what they felt reading comprehension was.
So, one thing we need to keep in mind is that comprehension is not an end destination. You can never say that a child can comprehend completely because it's a process of understanding and it's constantly revolving. And so as you are thinking about your reading comprehension, you need to keep that in mind that it should be an ongoing process all the time that you're doing with your students. Research says, this is what blew my mind. Teachers know that reading comprehension is important, and students must be taught how to engage, but most teachers are not explicitly teaching the strategies. And when I say teach, that means to constantly model and to get it ingrained in their minds where they can transfer the information about the comprehension strategy to any text, not just the text that you are working with that week and that strategy, but it should be something that they are so comfortable with that they do it automatically no matter if they are reading with you, with a partner, independently at home, any book, they can pick it up. We have got to start teaching them that. One study that I read about showed that out of 4,469 minutes of just reading instruction, only 20 minutes was spent on comprehension strategies. That blew my mind. 20 minutes out of over 4,000. So we've got to start being more deliberate in our actions with the students and making sure that we are teaching those strategies. So, why aren't we teaching those comprehension strategies? How many of you think you're teaching the comprehension strategy? I thought it was. So I was thinking about, okay, when I'm talking about making inferences, is that something that my students can do no matter what text I'm working with? Or is it just that week that I'm specifically working on inferencing? So that's something we've got to keep in mind. So it's up to us in your classroom to teach those strategies and how to effectively use them. So the first one I want to talk about is the directed reading thinking activity. This is a process that involves things that we do, but not necessarily all the time and in the cycle that it talks about. So with the directed reading thinking activity, it's a strategy that guides students in asking questions about a text, making predictions, and then reading to confirm or refute their predictions. I never thought predictions were really that big. I mean, yeah, we make predictions, but what does that have to do with it? And research has shown that when a student makes a prediction, they're using their prior knowledge. And when they're using that prior knowledge to make the prediction, then they are having more of a relationship with that text. If you can have some type of connection, whether it's from another book or with yourself in your own life, if you can do that and make a prediction, then while you are reading, you're going to be more in tune with the text because you're trying to prove or disprove your prediction. And they're talking about doing predictions throughout the text, not just at the beginning, but read, predict, read, and then revisit your prediction and make a new prediction. It should be a continuous cycle. And the one thing that I liked about the directed reading thinking activity is that it can also be a directed read aloud activity. It can be used individually, with a small group, or with your whole class. This visual really helped me to really understand the DRTA cycle because it is a cycle. It's continuous. You predict, you rationalize it, because you got to ask them, does your prediction even make sense? We were doing that today. We were reading The Empty Pot, and they were talking to me about their prediction was they thought that the flower was going to bloom at the end. And so we started talking about, rationalizing, does that make sense? What's the title of the story? The empty pot. So would it make sense for your prediction to do that? And so they had to start thinking about why did they make those predictions. Read it, prove or disprove it, and then make your prediction again.
These are anchor charts that I made as examples as well as use in my classroom for directed reading thinking activity.
Are there any questions about DRTM? All right, the second one is the question-answer relationship. And this is really good and effective with your ELL students in making sure that they understand that there is a relationship between the question that is asked and how the answer is given. So it helps build that comprehension skill by building on the relationship between questions, the text content, and reader knowledge. It helps students learn to use 4 different question-answer relationships to find the information they need to answer the question. If you can teach your children to figure out what category the question goes in, then they will be better able to figure out how to find the answer effectively. So you would describe those 4 types of questions, modeling them. The 4 types are, there's 2 that you can find in the book, 2 that are in your head. Those right there questions. They don't have to look, it's all in one spot. Very, those simple questions are right there. The other in the book is a think and search. This is one I see quite a bit, where yes, the answer is in the text, but you might have to look in multiple places and put it all together into one answer. So yeah, the answer's there. My students do that all the time. The answer's not there. Well, it's not word for word. It might be in several places, but it's right there in the text. The other category is the in my head. The author and you, the answer is not directly stated, so the students have to draw on prior knowledge as well as the author has written to answer the questions. They have to do a lot of inferring. And then on your own, that's where you have to do it all completely based on your prior knowledge and what you know. So I think the think and search is the biggest one that we see, and the author and you, where you have to do that inferring.
These are anchor charts for question-answer relationship that I use in my classroom and examples for the staff to use as well.
Any questions about QAR? With all strategies, it's crucial to always connect the strategy to the text and how it helps to better understand what is being read. I think that's one thing that sometimes we lack on, is always bringing it back to the text. Whether it's making a prediction, making a connection, whatever it is, how does that connection of your dad going out and buying you a new bike, how does that connect and help you to better understand the story? If it does, great. I don't care what your connection is, but how does it help you to understand that story more? So making sure whatever strategy you're using, you're always bringing it back to how it helps you to understand.